Good evening, everybody. Tonight I am going to talk about children's wellness. And I am Valerie Myers. I am in Bismarck, North Dakota, and I am a child therapist. I own the Kids Therapy Center here in Bismarck, and I have a clinic also in Underwood, North Dakota. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about how I use children's wellness in the clinic and use supplementation along with that. I try to educate my parents that we provide a few essentials for children. That's our job as parents, is to provide these essentials. And I start with the essentials that kids need is exercise, healthy food choices, and supplementation. Now, when dealing with a child, it's first good to know that children make us feel how they feel. So if they're feeling yucky inside, they're letting us know there's something going on with their body, that there's stress in it. Here is what I call my stress meter, and this is how I rate a child. On the left-hand side, you'll see that that's a stress meter, that our body overflows with a certain amount of stress, and when we overflow, we have more symptoms. We might not sleep right, we might not eat right, we might feel more anxious, depressed, we have more attention difficulties or whatnot. So it's about the stress of the body and us helping them bring it down. On the right-hand side, that stress meter, I have layers. We have layers of stress, and I always say the very first layer in everybody's body is wellness. What we eat and how we sleep, and if we're pooping every day and all that kind of stuff, that is part of our symptoms or our stress in our body, and it's our job to help take care of that, especially as a parent. So typically when we are helping a child, we might be wondering, is it environmental? Did they have a bad day at school? Did they get enough sleep? Are they starting to get sick? Or is it genetics? Oh, I do that, Dad does that. Or they'll just grow out of it to stage. And that's typical what parents should be thinking. But tonight I want you also to be thinking, did they toilet today or have a bowel movement? What did they eat recently? Was it gluten, dyes, milk, sugar? Other preservatives? Is any of those things making their tummy feel yucky? Or any of those things not digesting properly in their tummy? It's our job as a parent or a caregiver that we are our child's digestive detective. And with that, we want to know what their tummies digest properly, if they're absorbing their vitamins and minerals from that or discarding them. So here today I'm going to be teaching you some of those things. So when we teach our children the basics and model for them, we are helping them learn how to deal with stress on their body. We already teach our kids that we eat supper and breakfast and lunch regularly, and we go to sleep early enough so that we get enough rest. So those are some of the basics of wellness, and a lot of us do teach our kids about exercise. So tonight I want to start with exercise some, and we have a lot of things that we can do with kids with exercise. Sometimes as parents we might have to motivate our kids and get them moving a little bit, putting them in activities and stuff. One of our difficulties these days is the amount of screen time that kids are getting. I don't know if you know, but the average American home has more televisions than people. Well, we probably know that, most homes do. And the average American watches 4 hours and 35 minutes of TV daily. And this really affects our kids. The more TV and electronics they do, the more risk of attention-related problems, the more risk of being overweighted. With watching TV, that can actually weaken our brain, and that's when we typically see kids with more attention-related issues. Or those kids already with some attention issues, when they start watching TV, you can say their name repeatedly, and they still won't look at you. They're still in their daze. And so knowing that as a caregiver, then we have to provide a transition for them. Knowing that TV or electronic TV or electronics, they just need to monitor it, or they need to have less amount of time of that. It's about getting to know the child and what's best for them. So another piece of exercise is that research shows us, a lot of research shows about half hour, 45 minutes a day, but really the minimum is 20 minutes a day. We can really change our basic mental health. So with 20 minutes of exercise a day, some research shows us that it can decrease the irrational thinking, it can increase our focus and attention, and it also can build our self-esteem. So what happens when we exercise is we get the body moving, and the neurotransmitters that we have in our gut and in our brain, they actually function better. So when they're functioning better, then we have better attention, we have less defiance, we have less sensory issues. So 20 minutes a day of exercise can help us in a lot of ways. The next piece that I want to talk about is the diet. The ChooseMyPlate.gov is the new model. We finally got rid of that pyramid that is not good. And so what we eat can make a big difference. Obesity is one of the main things that I think a lot of us worry about, is that when not eating properly, they can be obese as children and grow up as obese adults and have lots of health issues. Today's modern diet is highly processed. Most children's typical day has lots of sugary and processed foods. So really it comes down to our children are overfed and undernourished. And so it's our jobs to help get that nourishment in them. 10% of our children ages 0 to 17 have asthma, 18% 6 to 17 are obese, 50% of children 2 to 17 consume a diet short of their guidelines that they need, and 9% of children ages 5 to 17 have activity limits due to one or more health conditions. So they are not able to do a lot of exercise and stuff because of other health conditions. So with all the things going on in our food and our diet, we know that there's nutrition deficits within our children. Some of the ones that we can help with supplementation are like 1/3 of kids, 48, are not getting enough calcium. 80% of kids are missing their daily vitamin E. 60% of kids are not getting their recommended dose of potassium. 20% of kids, 1 to 3, aren't getting enough iron. 20 to 50% of kids are vitamin D deficient. And 90% of children are deficit in EPA and DHA. And that's our fish oil, our omega-3s. So that is pretty common that kids don't eat enough fish and they're not getting that supplement. And I wouldn't say that it's because we have a lot of bad parents. I would just say that it's because we need to educate our parents. As a parent, and I work with many parents, they want to do what's best for their kid. It's just that we have to educate them. Here in the clinic, we teach the TLS, low glycemic diet, and we do TLS shape up with our families. And TLS is teaching the low sugars, keeping our blood sugar level, eating whole foods, and such like that. When working with a child or anybody that's eating low glycemic, that typically we see that when they're eating this way, then they're getting more nutrients, and that's because they're eating less preservatives and stuff, so they're getting more nutrients. Also with this, they sleep better. Their bodies, with the healthier choices, their body's digesting the way it should, and then they sleep better at night. And that's, the research shows for kids, but it's also for adults too, I would say. So here's the point of the presentation that I think that I like the most, and that is that we give them healthy choices, and we still have symptoms. And I hear that from a lot of parents. And that's why I really want to teach you that it's about being your child's digestive detective, or training a parent about being their child's digestive detective, figuring out what food allergies they might have, or not maybe a food allergy, but maybe what their tummy is not digesting properly, and so then they're having other issues. A common one that we see with this was preservatives, gluten, dyes, aspartame. Typically we see those types of reactions with those foods, but we also see them with other things. So it's really about getting to know their gut and about what is working with them. And I use the elimination process. I do, a weekend or a week, and I know you should be doing longer. I know a pediatrician would say that, but I can usually tell the difference within a weekend or a week with behaviors. For example, I have a 10-year-old boy that lives in another part of the state, and he came in with reactive attachment disorder, oppositional defiance, ADHD, and rightfully so. He had a trauma history. But then as I was educating his mom about also these other things that we could do to see if he would react to them, she decided to go gluten-free for a weekend. We talked about it on Friday. She went gluten-free for the weekend. On Monday, she called me and said, I'm not going back. She had a totally different child. And actually, a month later, he was assessed again by the same psychologist, and his reactive attachment label was gone, his attention deficit label was gone, his oppositional defiance. So a lot of his labels went away. And it was really because of his body reacting to a food. So, I call it the binary law of nutrition. Either something is bothering the body or something is missing. And I say that for a lot of our neurological-based children that we see with like attention deficit, autism, Asperger's, sensory processing, and so on. And it's really about what is it an allergy, or are they not absorbing their vitamins and nutrition? Because sometimes these kiddos, when they eat, their body holds in the toxins and they release the vitamins and minerals. And their vitamins and minerals don't all pass through the cell membrane like they should. And so then we see symptoms. And so it's about getting that digestive process going so that their gut is working the way they should. They're absorbing their vitamins and minerals. And then we see less behaviors. So here are some symptoms of food allergies. And you can see, as a child mental health clinician, I see a lot of these in my practice. Aggression, autism, allergies, anxiety, defiance, depression, sensory issues, overtiredness, moodiness. So a lot of things that I see. Tummy aches. A couple of years ago, before I was doing the Nutrimetrics Market America stuff in my clinic, I don't know how many kids came to me with tummy aches, and a lot of it we would say was anxiety. And really then, of course, we tried to rule out the medical field, and most doctors would say that it's nothing and send them to me for some anxiety help and relaxation. And in the end, I would teach them all those skills, but now when I look back at it, those same type of kiddos that I get, I start on Ultimate Owl. Is their gut digesting the way it should? Do they still have food kind of just hanging out in there that shouldn't be? And we start to get that tummy working the way it should. So it's really awesome to see that now we do something totally different, in my clinic anyway. So this is one of the questions I ask all the time. Are the behaviors related to what they ate? What did they eat in the last 48 hours? So I have parents keep food journals, and we try to see, is their tummy digesting? Are they having a bowel movement daily? Those two questions are very important to me when I'm working with a kid. Yes, to me, sleeping and eating and everything else and what type of tantrum they had and all that is important, but I start with the gut. That's the first place I start. So another one is are they reacting to sugars? Bad behaviors can be the bad chemistry. Is sugar irritating their body? So for example, I had a little boy, 3 years old, come into my clinic, and he was diagnosed sensory processing disorder and ADHD. Luckily, the parents hadn't started him on any medication, and we first started him on the digestive stuff. So he was taking aloe as much as he can. He's taking digestive enzymes, 2 caps in the morning, 2 caps in the afternoon, and he's taking a probiotic, the Spectrum, the children's one. And so we started this regimen, and 5 days later the mom called and said, we finally had our first day that I can leave him alone with the dog, because they were so scared of what he was going to do to the dog. So it was a huge success story, and I see that a lot. I see a lot of 9, 10, 11-year-old boys that come in for anger issues, and we just get them pooping every day and their gut working the way they should, and the anger issues are gone. Yes, do I still teach them coping skills for their feeling and anger management stuff? I sure do. But usually it's a different thing. Sometimes it is the gut and how the gut's working. Gluten sensitivity. I talked to you about my little boy that lost labels because we took care of the gluten stuff. Now I know that we have kids that have gluten sensitivities, and gluten sensitivity can be a spectrum. You can be a little bit sensitive or a lot, and most people are a little bit sensitive anyway. If gluten's not something that's easy for our body to digest, or all the GMOs and stuff. But I do have lots of families that do the weekend gluten-free or a week gluten-free so that we can see the severity of the behaviors. And I have on here, it can be genetic. It's not uncommon that I have somebody with a gluten sensitivity that's grandma or grandpa or mom and dad, and then we also have a kid with a yucky gut. That's not uncommon for me to see, especially when they're pretty severe. This is another, back to, are they absorbing their vitamins? When we eat our food, it goes through the digestive system, and then we absorb our vitamins and minerals through the cell membrane. We're supposed to extract our toxins. Well, kiddos with neurological stuff, they typically hold on to their toxins. And so we have to get them to be digesting better. I do have quite a few kids that are on just digestive enzyme and probiotics every other day, because it's not so much the probiotic or that bacteria. Probiotics used for the lower part of the gut, and I'll talk about that more later. But I really work on the digestive piece, because if we're digesting properly, then we're absorbing the vitamins and minerals we need, and then we're not a malnourished child, and we're getting the nutrition, and then our behaviors decrease. It's very cool how it works. And usually those kids talk about that their tummy doesn't hurt as much anymore either. So when we are able to do a variety of things with the gut, then we can help keep the stress level down in the body. Another piece of the diet that I'm just going to add in here is that for our neurological symptom children, I really suggest an extra protein snacks during the day. They need that extra protein. Their metabolism's high, their body's doing a lot of energy, we're using a lot of energy, so it's really important to have them use that extra protein. You know, and sometimes it's hard to give a kid meat or eggs or whatever to send to school, and these days you can't have peanuts at school. So I do use our protein shakes and our whey protein shakes, have them in a bottle, so the kid just has to add water at school and shake it up and drink it. We do use the choice protein bars for the schools that we can. And then I also use the Extend bars and snacks to help keep the blood sugar even. You know, lots of times parents will complain to me that the morning and after school can be the hardest, and that's because their blood sugars can be down. And so it's like, yep, when you get them up, get them protein right away. When you get home from school, get them protein right away, because that will help with that blood sugar and keeping them more level. So here's a chart. You know, these charts are geared towards adult stuff, but I really picked this chart because this is our chocolate peanut butter energy bar, but there's a good amount of protein in this, and there's 13 grams of protein. And so when I look at it for kids, yeah, calories is a big deal, but I really look at the protein amount and the sugar amount. So you can see our Choice Energy bars are 13 grams of protein and 6 grams or 5 grams of sugar. And some of the other ones are quite a bit. But so there are some good energy bar or protein bars out there for these kiddos. The whey protein shake is also one that I use regularly, and that's because it's RBGH free also. You know, this one kind of hits home for me, and I'll tell you my story. I have 2 children, a 7-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. And my girl, we used to live in Minneapolis, and she was born in Minneapolis, whatever. We did all the parenting stuff. She had acid reflux when she was a baby. And as she grew up, she continued to have stomach issues, continued to not sleep through the night. Lots of tummy aches she would complain about. Well, she was a little kid. I didn't really know to believe her or not, right? That's probably what I was thinking. Well, about a year and a half ago, I was living in Bismarck, North Dakota. I went to the doctor. We had many emergency room nights in the middle of the night. Now, my daughter has a little bit of sensory issues. I thought she was maybe bipolar because she had severe mood swings. That runs in the family, so I wasn't too concerned about it. And I'm a child therapist, so I thought I can deal with this. And we were doing good, but I was tired of hearing her cry because of how bad her tummy hurt. So I told the therapist here, or the doctors here, that's it, I'm going back to Minneapolis. So they sent me to Minneapolis actually the next day. We did testing there. On my way home, they told me, keep doing what you're doing. Keep giving her Tylenol. We didn't see anything. And I am like, you are crazy, because my daughter was losing weight because she was scared to eat because she didn't know what was hurting her tummy. And so they're like, well, maybe she's got anxiety or stress. Okay, maybe she does, but I'm a child therapist again. I really didn't think she did, but I was open-minded to maybe this was something that could be. Well, I got home and I went to my great friend Lisa Watkins, who's in a clinic upstairs from me and is a Market America distributor too. And I said to her, I need something for her tummy. So we right away started her on liquid aloe, digestive enzymes, and probiotics. 3 weeks later, I had a totally different child. Sensory issues were down. The mood swings were gone. I don't even have those anymore to this day. You know, she still has some bouts of tummy stuff, but we have it under control because we know which supplements help her. She, I believe, is allergic to the RBGH and the hormones in milk. She can eat any of the other dairy stuff if that's not in there. She can drink the milk without it, but she mainly eats cheese and yogurts and stuff like that. We learned that was what was hurting her tummy. We also learned in the process her gut wasn't digesting properly. So now we regularly, probably, you know, every other day she gets digestive stuff. If it gets worse, she takes extra aloe. But she's still a kid, so if she wants to have her Oreos and milk, she does. And guess what? I supplement with probiotic and digestive enzyme and aloe right after she's done eating with it, and she doesn't have the pain she used to because we get it out, digested and out of her system right away. Now, that's my story, and I'm not saying that that's okay for all kids. Some kids have more of a severe allergy, so we have to be more careful, but the reality is that we can usually supplement and help these kiddos. So 3 weeks later then, I have a totally different kid. I see 100 and some children a year in my clinic. I have 5 therapists that work for me. We see a lot of kids with similar issues. And so I was like, we are going to help these kids. And so a few months later, I became a Market America distributor. I'm a healthcare professional, and decided that we need to use this with our kids in our clinic too. But anyway, so that's kind of where I get to the whey protein shake with the RDGH. That one hits home with me because that's where my daughter's at. We don't see as many symptoms now that we have looked for what is needed for her tummy. Here's just a picture of the Extend snacks, and they help maintain blood sugars. You can see them at the shock.com websites. They're also sold at local stores. So we know with food and supplementation, we know that we're designed to eat. We love to eat. That's not a problem. But our food is not as good a quality as it used to be. Here's a graph that shows the reduction in the average mineral content of our fruit and veggies between 1940 and 91. So you can clearly see that we dropped a little, or a lot, actually, in some of these. And so we need to get them in our body. So we know, and I think a lot of people have come to circumstance that we need to supplement. But then you get to the aisle at the store and it looks like this, and you think about, what do you buy? And so reading the label is the first thing. What kind of binders and fillers do they have? You can see that our famous Flintstone one has aspartame in it and dyes. Centrium has aluminum. So these types of things in our vitamins can actually make a child with neurological symptoms worse. And so in my clinic, I'll actually ask them to stop taking a Flintstones and take nothing before they would take that, because that can, because remember, these kiddos, they hold on to toxins. And so that would actually make their symptoms worse. All right, so here's an x-ray just of a basic one. The top one is taken the day before the x-ray, and then you can see the pill kind of go down, and it's going to be extracted whole. And that's just because of the binding of the product that's being used. So this comes to why I use Isotonic. Isotonic means this pressure tone at the same pH as our body, so it's the same pressure as our tears, our plasma, and our body fluids. What I really love about this product is how quickly it can absorb in our body. So here's just a picture of that. Absorption with Isotonix on an empty stomach can be within 5 minutes, and where other stuff can be 40 minutes to 4 hours. And I really like how quickly we can absorb this. And what I really like about it when I'm working with my kiddos or my own daughter is that I can give her a cocktail of calcium and B's, half a cap of each, and when she's having some separation anxiety. And with that, then within 15 minutes, she's calmed down. So that's a great one to, or another reason why I use Isotonix. All right, so, Nutrimetrics has been around or Market America has been around for quite a while, and I like it because I trust them. They have the latest research. It's a really good company. So yes, our kids here primarily drink their vitamins. All right, so when I get a kid into the clinic, some of my first, excuse me, some of my first questions are about the gut. Are they picky? Do they eat properly? What's their diet like? Do they talk about tummy pains? Are they pooping every day? Those are some of my first questions after I ask, what are your concerns when they first come? And they may seem medical, but that's because I need to see what's really going on with this kid. And I know that if our gut's not working right, that can jump up our stress meter, and I want to make sure that we're hitting every end. So then I have digestive enzymes first. This is one of my favorite products, the Spectrum one, and that's because it breaks down casein and gluten too. And with these kids, they really need that extra help with that. I use this one primarily for like sensory issues, tummy pains, defiance, any of those neurological issues. I almost always start with a digestive enzyme. We do a probiotic too, and depending on what's going on, any child that's is got autism or anything, or Asperger's and stuff, they typically don't make enough probiotic, and so they need to have probiotic regularly as a supplement. Also with that is sometimes on the autism spectrum, we see that those kids have a different type of bacteria, so that also needs to be overbalanced with some better good bacteria. And so that's another reason why we use the probiotic. It's very important for kids on the autism spectrum to be on a probiotic. Even though I believe that regularly our typical kids should. Maybe not every day, but at least every other day or a couple times a week. Probiotic digestive enzymes is used for the upper part of the gut and breaking down food, and probiotics for the lower part of the gut and putting in good bacteria. So, so sometimes if we hear people are really constipated, then we will do probiotic with digestive enzymes right away, every day, so that we can get things moving the way it should. Well, probiotics are used for a lot of things. They're in the news all the time, for allergies, obesity, stomach viruses. If you're taking an antibiotic, you should be taking probiotics. So we use C probiotics quite a bit. I saw some articles this last summer too on probiotics and allergies. I'm just so used to OPC with allergies that I never even thought about probiotic. I guess I did, but I just don't use it anymore for that. I use our OPC3, but probiotics good for that too. So digestive health is really important. With proper digestive health, we can also help our skin, and I use the digestive stuff also for kids with acne or adults with acne. That's another big one too. I have quite a few kids that have come from dermatologists because the dermatologist's next step was a birth control for it, and we don't do that. We use OPC, digestive enzyme, and aloe to get that gut healthy and to heal the skin and everything, and then they don't have to go on birth control anymore. And usually that regimen works well for us. Ultimate Aloe, love this product. I use aloe for the digestive stuff, skin stuff, acid reflux, not any of those types of things. But for a day-to-day thing for a typical child or typical family, it's great during this time of year for the immune system. It's great for skin. It's great for tummy issues. I use it in the car. I bring the powder packets with and use it for car sickness and air sickness. It just promotes that normal healing. I also use the natural in my clinic with babies. I do specialize in infant mental health too here in the clinic, so I do get babies. Any young one that's having some attachment issues, or there was trauma in the baby's life, or even signs of not typical functioning, like maybe autism or something like that. So we do use this then too. This is a great product to use, especially when we have those formula-fed babies and they're not pooping like they should, or their tummy, they seem constipated or anything like that. This is a great one for those kids. Because then we don't got to give them, the Remedia prune juice, which promotes stomach cramping and that kind of yucky stuff. This is a great one for that. Okay, so the Isotonix Spectrum OPC3. This product in a mental health clinic is wonderful. The research behind this product for attention deficit is great, and that's my next slide. And it shows that 36% decrease with this, and that the pycnogenol in it is what helps with that attention deficit symptoms. I also use this for allergies, headaches, hyperactivity, PMS, skin issues, a lot of other things. But this one's great for that. Remember, the neurological kids tend to hold in the toxins, and so we want them to release those toxins. So with this product and the digestive stuff, we can see decrease in symptoms pretty quickly, and it's very cool. I can tell when I get a patient and a week later they come back and they've started their meds, I can see they're focusing already better within a week, even though it takes a little bit longer to actually heal the body and get it to where we would like, but I can see a difference pretty quickly. And that's just awesome to me, because then we don't got to medicate our kiddos with this. Here's an article on ADHD and pycnogenol reducing symptoms. If you even just Google ADHD naturally, pycnogenol comes up, and we have the Isotonix pycnogenol. So that is just awesome, because kids can drink it, it works quickly, it's very effective, there's no binders and fillers. Yeah, I can't rave more about this product. I love that product. All right, oops, I don't have, okay, so we're missing part of our slide, but that's all right. In our company, we have 3 multivitamins that are used with kiddos. On the left, we have our typical vitamins, great multivitamin for your typical average child, whatever that might be is typical. Basically, no neurological issues. It's Isotonix, so it's powder, so they drink it. Then we have the one in the middle is our Spectrum. What I like about our Spectrum is that it has the activated B in it. These kiddos with neurological stuff have a hard time digesting and metabolizing, and that activated B will absorb right into through their cell membrane like it should, and we actually see it more effective then. Now also with that, it has a little bit more B, and those kids have a hard time absorbing their Bs. When we don't get enough Bs, we have irrational thinking and anger issues and stuff, and I'll talk about Bs in a little bit. There's also the right amounts, no copper, the right amounts of zinc and everything in them. We don't want copper in there because these kids tend to hold on to toxins, so they don't process it properly or release it like they should. The gummy bites also have activated B in them, so I love them just as much too. And it's nice because you can have that gummy choice for those kids that don't want to take the juice. But all right, omega-3. This is an essential fat that's not produced by our body, so we have to ingest it. We have to be eating our fish daily or omega-3s or whatever, but the reality is we don't get that many servings in to do it. I use omega-3. This is what I call my brain-based one. Even though it's great for eyes, inflammation, heart, we know omega-3s is great for a lot of things. But in my clinic with kids, I really use it for the learning disabilities, that, again, attention. It's great for attention deficit. It really makes those dendrites and synapses in the brains function at a nicer level and where they should be instead of slower or lagging or anything. I also use omega-3 for my bipolar type children with the mood swings. I use it for adults too that have the mood swings, but it really helps stabilize the mood. So when I'm dealing with mood swings, depression, or high and low mood swings, I will use omega-3 and Bs for those types of people. You know, also with mood swings here in North Dakota and up in the north here, we don't get a lot of sunshine, so we might add D in that too. But also with omegas, pregnant people, or pregnant mommies, sorry, that it will help alleviate postpartum. Also, the research behind omegas with our babies is they sleep better and they have higher IQs. The mommies are feeling better because they have a better, healthier baby, and they also, the postpartum symptoms are decreased. You know, omega-3s are all over the news too. This is a great one. I also use omega-3s. I personally have osteoarthritis, and so I use omega-3s and the OPC, not the Spectrum, the other one for that, and our bromelain. But anyway, so omega-3s are great for mental health. They're also just the essential that we need anyway. This is an essential vitamin or fat that we need for us. All right, B complex. Here's I kind of put my few favorites on the slides tonight. But our B is activated, and it is hard to find an activated B. You know, I'm in Bismarck, North Dakota, and here in Bismarck, you know, we're like, what, population of 80 or 90,000 now with the surrounding communities. And we have wellness stores and stuff in the community. And, you know, then we have like GNC and whatever else. But activated B, I had a mom go around to all the stores to try to find activated B. And she found one multivitamin in our community with activated B, no activated B by itself. And then she found out about us. And then so now she's able to get her activated B. And that's because she has a kiddo with Downs and autism. So he needs his activated B. I use B for the stress and mood. So yep, I take it myself for my day-to-day stress, but I also give it to kiddos. And I do decrease the cat to half a cap for younger kids. But B's is what I call my thinking one. This is the one that is our thoughts. So if you have constant worries or constant thoughts or you know somebody who does, or if they have irrational thoughts, like the always and the nevers and stuff, well, this is the bee for that. This bee will help with that. It also helps decrease agitation. Now, it says on here promotes energy, but I want you to know that a hyperactive kid is not going to get more energy from a bee. Actually, an attention deficit kid doesn't typically absorb vitamins properly, so they need their bees to level out that energy. It actually makes them better. Yeah, bees are great. Calcium Complete. I use calcium for relaxation, and also, you know, during the kid years, that's when our bones are growing, and they need strong bones and healthy teeth and stuff. And we know that milk might not be the best way for them to get their calcium. So that's why we use this for supplementation. But also, you know, it has magnesium in it, because it's a calcium complete. It's a blend of a few, and this helps with good nights. So when I have a kid that is anxious or having a hard time falling asleep and is really kind of a worrier or anxious kid, then I use this one for sleep at night, and I just give them 1 cap to go to bed. I also use this for like with separation anxiety, or if they're doing a program for school, or kind of that situational anxiety. Situational anxiety, I do a half a cap of B and a half a cap of calcium to help with situational anxiety, to help with that, and it works wonders. Now, why I use calcium complete or magnesium for kids for sleep instead of melatonin is because I work with a lot of kids that have trauma in their life. And these kids don't really need more vivid dreams, and melatonin is known to produce more vivid dreams and can cause more nightmares and stuff. So I don't want that. Now, some neurologically based kids, autism, ADHD, need melatonin to help to sleep because they don't produce enough. But it's hard because once you start taking melatonin, your body eventually stops producing it, and you kind of need it in other areas of your life too for calming. So I have a hard time with that, but some kids do need it. So how much calcium do I need? From birth on up, we need various amounts of calcium. This slide is on the nutrimetrics.com website or shop.com by our calcium. So in closing tonight, these are some of my regimens that I use. Of course, remember, they're not FDA approved, but they are what I use in my clinic. I first check out the gut, and then I use a variety of them. Sensory issues, I watch for food allergies, because that's a typical gut-related disorder. And then I use probiotic digestive enzyme OPC. You know, I start with these, and then if we need to use other ones or change them from morning to night or whatever, I do that. ADHD, you know, it's known in the Spectrum line, which is digestive enzyme probiotic, omega, Spectrum multi, OPC. Anyway, you know, that's great. I again start with the digestive piece with ADHD. Then my next favorite one for ADHD is OPC, then omega-3. And then from there, I kind of, if they're not on the Spectrum multi, then I might add the B complex. I might add some in because they might need that. You know, B complex, that will help with, like, if there's any irrational thinking, but also aggression and stuff like that. Usually that's a lack of B when we see aggression in ADHD kids. Acne, digestive enzymes, ultimate aloe, OPC3, just your typical stress, B complex and calcium complete. For younger kids, I typically just give them half a cap of each. Headaches, magnesium. Headaches, I also do B complex and OPC3 myself. Depression, magnesium is a great one for depression, or B complex. I start a lot of people just on the essentials kit for depression. For a kiddo, I might do OPC3 and a gut thing, and B complex. So it's just about, again, getting to know the kid or the adult that you're helping them with this. Anxiety, I use calcium for relaxation, B's to help decrease the irrational thoughts. If they're pretty anxious, if calcium doesn't work, then I might bump to magnesium. I even have bumped to L-tryptophan to help with some of this. And then the L-tryptophan I do at night. Allergies, OPC3. Again, sleep, calcium complete. our essentials kit. You know, some of the ways that we can help each other and help our children is by staying educated. And I continue to do education. Here's some of the ways you can get a hold of me. My clinic website's thekidstherapycenter.com. My kids' wellness website is childrenneedwellness.com. On childrenneedwellness.com, you can go there and subscribe to a listserv that I have going, or a email list. And from there, I also put on all my trainings that I'm going to be doing. So yes, I will be continuing to do web-based trainings. I continue to do trainings throughout North Dakota and Minnesota, and I will be going to Wisconsin hopefully this next year here, and South Dakota. So I will be traveling and doing them, but I do regularly do them on the internet. If you would like to be part of knowing where I am, check out that website, childrenneedwellness.com, or else please get added to the email list, and I will send out emails. I do also periodically will be sending out education as I get new education on omegas or different vitamins or different wellness opportunities to help a child with their mental health. Also, you can follow me on Facebook at the Kids Therapy Center Facebook page, or else just friend me, Valerie Myers, on Facebook. I hope that you had a great evening. All right, thank you and have a good night.